Dogman, the canine cryptid we've all come to know and fear. It's midnight and you're here, so that must mean you're part of the Midnight Lycanthropy Club. I'm your host, Brookestirr, along with my co-host Kenneth. We'll be talking about the canine cryptid known as Dogman, along with some other cryptids tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We do upload this podcast every Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, without further ado, sit back, get cozy, while me and Kenneth take a walk into the forest.
Did you see the size of them paw prints?
He was in the graveyard saying some strange chant.
Oh, hell no.
She said the creature kept trying to open her bedroom window.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Midnight Lycanthropy. I'm your host, Brookestirr, and this is my other host, Kenneth. Kenneth, how are we doing today?
I am not too bad, my friend. I'm just plucking around and working on some research and trying to keep an eye on my maniac squirrel outside right now. And it's about it right now. Just trying to figure out things I got to do later. Some collective encounters, and I have a ton of no exaggeration. I have probably 1,000 images I need to touch up. Some video stuff to work on. So when you say you're busy, I totally feel that, my friend.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I love your squirrel. Oh my gosh, her playing in the snow. You sent me that picture earlier.
Yeah,
So
Swift.
stinking cute.
It's
I'm
so
actually going to
fun.
put it on YouTube. I'm going to be like, here is the
You
squirrel.
should.
Her name is
I'll send
Swift, and
you.
she's amazing. Well, it's actually midnight, but it's time to dig into some lycanthropy, some Dogman. Today, I was wanting to talk about just in general where it all started, like where the first Dogman sighting started, which was, I believe, in Michigan,
Yes,
like
ma'am.
in the United States, and there's a lot of going on in Maine, and the Beast of Bray Road, of course. So some of those more traditional things, since this is our second episode, and we talked about the origins last episode. Now we can talk a little bit more on the origins too, just to get people, our audience, more familiar with Dogman, the ones who aren't, of course.
Yeah. So the original, one of the first documented ones, but people actually, if they dig a little bit deeper, can see that it goes back even further. But 500 BC is a lot of people's general consensus of when the cynocephali were first reported. But if you dig deeper into Greek literature and history, it was actually 290 BC that they were first really documented. So that was kind of one of the first spots, and I would say more modernized historical aspects when the Dogman started being documented. But fast forward now to probably around the 1800s and up to modern times,
Hmm.
the majority of Dogman sightings come from three different areas: Wisconsin, Ohio, and Michigan. So those would be the three really, let me say, breadwinners. Obviously, Kentucky and Tennessee has a ton of encounters as well. But as you were
Yeah,
saying,
the
the first,
LBL, right? The
yes, yeah,
LBL,
that's
the land
also
between the
right.
lakes.
Yes, the land between the lakes. That's actually right, kind of in that area though, near Ohio, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. It's all kind of clumped up right into that area. So realistically, I can definitely see the correlation of interactions and encounters in those areas. But I mean, there, if you sit down and look at that map and stuff like that, I mean, it's documented everywhere. But if people really wanted to kind of get the consensus of where it started, yeah, it would definitely be in those three areas. Would be the hotbeds.
Yeah. And Michigan being Michigan was the first one I ever heard, the Michigan Dogman. Um,
Yes.
and that was the first story I ever heard was about the two lumberjacks, of course. And I actually had some questions about that. I don't know. Do you know what type of dogman they actually seen, and what is actually the most common type? When we're talking about the seven types, like one looks like a hyena, one looks like an actual, a movie like werewolf. The other looks like a German Shepherd face or
Yep. Yeah.
baboon face.
So I tend to I guess I try to, I mean, I understand, I guess, some of the different specs when people start putting it up in the sixth and sevens. North American Dogman Project and myself kind of keep it in the type 1, type 2, type 3 range. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously there's always going to be some differences. So I mean, if someone is seeing potentially, a type 1 that is a more traditional werewolf. I mean, instead of having a more canine type muzzle, it could have more potentially have a baboon one, but still have the similar setups and frames of a werewolf slash dogman. As I said, I just use the term werewolf because it's more understandable for individuals, but to me, skinwalkers and werewolves are one and the same, and
Mm.
dogman are actually a separate entity from that. So that's why I try to use the term wolfman, dogman, as much as possible, just to try to, I guess, distinguish the aspects of the differences.
Mhm. Um, so as in like the ones that they're seeing in these areas, so they're around the type one, type two, type threes.
Though, yeah. So almost, man, probably 60% are definitely type one. Um, and then maybe
Okay.
30% is type 2, give or take, and the remaining amount will be type 3. So from the reports that I read, I believe those lumberjacks just saw the dark black, more traditional looking dog man. But if you actually dig back further, there are a ton of other encounters that have occurred before then where they don't use the term dogman or werewolf, but they're seeing extremely large black wolves. For example, one gentleman went missing down near a lake area where he had said he wanted to explore, but he had been warned by people that there were enormous dark black wolf-like creatures in the area, four of them, and he never returned. There's another instance of someone that was hunting and that was pulled away off into the forest by what people said was an enormous wolf. So these are cases that actually occurred before the loggers, but it's the general consensus is the loggers had the first, I guess, formation of the dogman. But if you, like I said, dig back further into that, you'll see there's actually older encounters from Michigan that involve potentially a dogman as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to get into some of those encounters. Because I mean, those are the encounters that kind of led up to, I guess, the lumberjacks like finally saying, "Okay,
Yes,
this is
yes, yeah.
it.
It was
We
kind of like
just
the
seen this
origins.
daggone dog man, and we're sick of it. Like, we need to tell people about this."
Yeah, no, it's so actually kind of last night. A friend of mine, Harley Owens, he's a Bigfoot guy, but he actually just had his first Dogman encounter, and I actually just got it documented, just got the video downloaded. I have to put it together later, but kind of like I
Nice.
was saying, just the nefarious aspects. I mean, he said he's never felt like his life was in any sort of jeopardy when he was in Sasquatch territory, but he said as soon as he saw this Dogman, literally everything flashed before his eyes, and he just felt like there was no sort of connection or kindness whatsoever. That its bright yellow eyes literally wanted to consume him. So
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
it's definitely there's a big difference, as I said, in the species and how they act for sure. And I do believe, obviously, you're going to have more, I don't know, nefarious versions of dogmen and stuff like that. But as I dig more and more into historical aspects, even cases where people claim that it might be seeming to be more interested than aggressive, well, the next day they get up and they find scratch marks all over their barn or their car. So even though it might have not been so much of an aggressive encounter, I mean, if it's clawing up things, our version of aggressive in comparison to that, I feel like is distinguishable, because I mean, if something's clawing at your car and leaving pretty large claw marks. I mean, yeah, sure, it could be a form of curiosity, but it also seems to be a form of potential predation as well.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that anything marking up is like claiming it as its territory. And
Yes, yes, yep,
I've heard of actually urinating, like the male dogman's urinating on
yep,
cars and
yep.
sheds and stuff like that to mark their own territory, like saying this is mine. So I think it's past curiosity at that point. They're
Oh,
claiming it.
yeah, no, 100%. And it's actually ironic you just mentioned that Nuxium, who's the tracker for us, that I was telling you about, that is a survivalist that has spent the majority of his life out in the wilderness. He recently had to get rid of a car that he had because he he and I believe he's dealing with more of a skinwalker than a dog man because of just the way it's acting and things like that. But it was
Mm.
yeah, urinating on his car and all kinds of things, basically marking his territory. So he had to get rid of the car because of the activity that was occurring and things like that. So I mean, just like any animal, I mean, some of the other neighborhood squirrels, for example, come by and they're all super cool and stuff like that. But I mean, I got peanuts for all of them, but yet they are trying to battle each other for the peanuts, and it's like, dude, why you chasing her or him away when I got more here for you? Like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So it's just the way. Yeah, anything is gonna kind of want to mark its territory. Like if you see say like a wolf or a fox comes by and takes a poop in an area that's marking its territory, and then you'll see
Yeah.
something like a grizzly bear or something else larger come by and do the same thing over top of that to be like, no, this is my area.
Right.
So
Yeah. You only
yes,
think that
yes,
because you haven't seen
so
the big dog yet.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, no, any sort of animal, or I mean, humans are the same way. Like, I mean, think when you potentially live with somebody that is just a roommate or something, and you're a male, they're a male, and your other roommate's a male. Well, some people have to be Mr. Macho, and this is, oh yeah, this is my territory. Like I gotta be the king. Woohoo! So it's kind of like it's just natural in an
Yeah,
animal
that goes
behavior.
back to caveman days. I think it just comes naturally for a lot of males to defend their territory and stuff, and maybe they're not even doing it in a malicious way. To them, maybe it's just like this is just nature, and this is what comes into mind. You know what
No,
I'm saying? The caveman days, like
yeah, no, I mean 100%. It's super true, but I even know like females will do the same thing with like some of the stray
Mhm.
cats around here that I'll feed. Like one of the females I befriended. I mean, I see her spray whatever she's spraying on the trees sometimes or
Yeah, they
bushes.
do that.
Yeah, well, obviously to let the males know that they're ready to, reproduce or whatever it is that they're doing. So same thing, they're also, marking their territory. And I've seen some of the other females outside, like if one has
Yeah,
kittens, the other
felines
one
do
doesn't.
that.
Yeah, super aggressive towards each other as well, because one's got a litter of kittens and the other one's just trying to get food. And even though I got enough for both of them, the one with the kittens is super aggressive.
Yeah, yeah. Feral cats will yeah, cats, they do that spray and stuff. That always intrigued me. That actually makes me wonder. Now, I've never heard of a cryptid like a cat cryptid, like kind of like a dog, like a cat man or a cat woman or
Oh, the
something like that.
Klickitat cat ape, the one from Washington State that's reported as being baboon and sleek like a cat with a cat-like
Ooh.
fur, but it also has a lot of similarities of a canine. And
Hmm.
if you look at some of the other reports of skinwalkers and the Navajo legends and things like that, they're able to take the form of goats, deer,
Yeah,
wolves, coyotes, cats, bears, pretty
yeah,
much any
that's
sort of
interesting.
animal that they're trying to connect with or mimic the form. They can definitely take on that, and there have been, like I said, reports in certain areas where people say it looks baboonish, cat-like, and dog-like, kind of all in one. And I would think that those would probably be some more of the modern day DNA splicing and things like that have probably been occurring.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. Definitely. But yeah, and what did you say that cryptid was? The cat creature? The what now?
I know, right? It's so funny because certain terminologies I've have been trying to practice because it's super important to be able to say, which is why I was sending you like
Yeah,
my pronunciations and let the cynocephaly and stuff because I'd
I
be recording,
know, right?
I'd be recording my video, right? And I would skip those words and just finish recording the video, and then I'd go to Google after and make sure I'm saying it correctly, and then
I
go
do
back
the
to.
same thing, and usually 100%. I am so known for not saying names correctly, and it's so
Yeah.
funny. Like at this point, I'm just like, I'm just gonna say it. And if somebody corrects me, I'll be like, "Yep, I knew that was coming."
Yes, yes. So that's it'll be so funny. I'll literally complete everything else, and then I'll have to go in and listen like 4 or 5 times because if I listen first and then I start, I don't know, speaking another whole paragraph, by the time the word comes up, I'm like, oh crap, man! Like I forgot how to pronunciate this correctly. So,
Yeah, and most of it's because it's definitely from different cultures and stuff. And
yes.
I hate being, and that's like the thing with me. I hate being disrespectful. Like every time I do like a video, I'm just like, I hope I say these. I hope I don't disrespect these people if they pronounce
Oh,
this the other way.
I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry about any of that. Here's an example for you. Like my last name is Thibodeau, so but I
Mhm.
have people that I've interacted with from down south that say it as Thibodeau. That's how they say it down there. It's spelled the same. But up here and we say Thibodeau, but down there they say Thibodeau. So but yeah, no. What you were asking about is the Klickitat ape cat, and
The Klikitat Ape cat. Okay, we're gonna have to
yep,
look this up because I have
yep.
never heard of that before in my
Um,
life. So this is
I
interesting.
actually, so a little while ago, one of the images I sent you that you used in the video, in the forested area where it's like looks like it's bending over, and also near like the graveyards and things like that. That's
Oh,
Klickitat
okay.
County in Washington.
Oh, see,
And
now I just thought that was a dog man. My
no,
bad. Like,
no, I mean it's so again,
technically.
technically, well, yes, because it's groundhog woodchuck, right? Same difference. It's the same.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like I mean, there's going to be, like I said, different appearances and things like that. But the overall term of dogman or wolfman or werewolf, it's going to have some discrepancies, but it's describing basically something that looks canine-ish, that's upright,
Yeah.
that's walking, that's bipedal, and things like that. So as I said, though, I mean, you have people that say it was almost like crawling, kind of like a large cat would across the road, but it had blatant pointed up ears and a snout like a wolf, but it was doing like a weird crawl like a large cat would. And then some other people kind of like to talk about cloaking being more supernatural. I
Mm-mm.
have more of a uh, natural take on that in regards of if you look at any predator, they cloak, yes, but what they do is they'll push themselves very close to the ground. So you can look at a tiger. A tiger is a massive animal, but it can press itself down to the ground and almost flatten itself out to
Mhm.
hide amongst the grass and things like that. So same thing with like a dog man. I mean, even though it's a large animal, as it lays down and flattens itself up, it's going to look familiar to its territory. Kind of like that video we were watching with a massive black wolf from Michigan. Like you see how it's
Yes.
pushed down. The only thing we could really see at first was its ears pointed up, and then
Mhm.
you see it stand up. You're like, good gracious, that thing is
Yeah.
massive. But it didn't look like that though on the ground because it was
Right.
pressing itself down. So I guess if I was going to use terms of cloaking, that would be the term I would use because, as I said last night, like in my video with Mark Tessier and Midnight Century, is I do think there is a huge difference between dogmen and skinwalkers. And
Yeah.
I don't dive as much into the skinwalker aspects because I focus on the dogman, but I am
Mhm.
educated with those aspects. But people that dive more into that with the portals and the supernatural aspects, I personally would believe that would be more of the dark arts and people, diving into dark magic and doing the werewolf and skinwalker type things. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I believe in that too. And you mentioned something about the government experiments with the click attack cat or
Yep.
whatever it's called.
Yes.
I mean, that's to me when you say it's a blend of animals like that, that's exactly what my mind goes to, like government
Well,
and
yeah,
then
you're going to
even
take
the
the
cloaking.
aspects. Yes, yes, you're going to take the
Mm.
aspects of everything. So, for example, as I had mentioned before, Lauren Donaldson and Dr. Barr were taken on to be head scientists at this specialized military facility around the time of the Manhattan Project and the Cold War and all these times because we were super worried about Russia coming in and taking information from us. So, Lauren Donaldson was hired by them because he had created something called the Donaldson trout. It's to this day almost an unkillable fish. I mean, it survives in
Oh,
fresh water, cold water, salt water, warm water. It doesn't matter. It's super adaptable, and it's a very plentiful fish. And he had created it to try to reboost the species line that was disintegrating. So that's just a fish that they were able to create. And now keep in mind, him and
just a
Dr. Barr,
fish.
that's just a fish, yes. And
Yeah.
Dr. Barr and him 3 different times admitted that large apex predators they were experimenting on had escaped.
Mm,
They didn't specify what it was. They didn't tell you how many got out or how many they were able to capture. All they said is that some of them remained at large. So
wow.
yeah, I mean it's there. The experimentation aspects. I mean, you got the World War
That just
II
makes it
days.
more real though when you're actually get it from these sources that are saying,
Yes,
hey,
it's
there are things that have been
been
released
there.
out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the
Wow,
big
that's
problem.
just
Yeah, no, it's super amazing. And I think the big
it's
problem.
scary.
Yes, yes, very much so, my friend.
Because, like, you don't know if these things can go rogue, like, if they have I mean, if they obviously eat raw meat and stuff like that, so, like, with all these missing people, missing cases and stuff, that it really does make you think if these things have gone rogue and started living out in the wild again and capturing these people.
100%. I mean, and then you on the East Coast, you got Plum Island, and things like that. So,
Mhm.
and yeah, like the World War II case with the Nazis and Celi Rathis Nexus,
Mhm.
where they were experimenting, basically where those divers said that they saw people with like wolf heads, goat's head, things,
Yeah.
wolves heads, and so the
Now that's
Nazis, you know,
interesting. I've never heard of that. Well, yeah, I've heard of the Nazis experimenting, of course, craziness, but yeah, part of history that is just yeah, we won't even go there.
yeah,
Discuss,
it's
but
definitely it's definitely unfortunate, but like you were
yeah.
saying, I mean, the splicing aspects and things like that have been occurring since around
You
World War I,
said that
World
they
War
found
II.
dog heads. Now, where? Now, this is new information to me. Now, where did they deep dove? Where now? Let's hear this story, Kenny. What you got to say about that?
So which one are you referring to right now, my
You
friend?
said that they were deep diving and they found people with
Yes, yep. So in the Celi or Exisnathis, so when they went into that village, it was a German town that had been overtaken by the Nazis. I'm pretty sure they weren't about it, but they didn't really have a choice. And when the soldiers of the American infantry unit, I believe it was either the 82nd or the 84th, showed up, they took control of the Nazi town hall, and the rest of the
Mhm.
village was pretty much destroyed, but the whole entire town hall was in really good condition. So they went in, looked around, and realized it was a Nazi stronghold, and they saw that the lower levels had been flooded, as well as concrete freshly poured in certain areas. So
Wow.
after some pondering, the general was like, "Okay, well, there's obviously something potentially down here that the Nazis are trying to cover up. So
Right.
we should go down and check this out." And he called in 3 specialized divers. I actually had referred to them as Navy SEALs earlier, but recently I was educated, I guess, that Navy SEALs technically weren't around at that time, but they would have been the very first kind of versions of Navy SEALs.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so they were
very first
special.
Navy SEAls.
Yeah, they were just 3 divers on tethers. And after about an hour or so, when they were trying to pull them back up, 2 of the tethers came up, minus the divers, and they were unable to locate them. And the third diver came up and was just frantic and just pretty much traumatized. And he informed them as to what he had seen down there. And it is very much documented that Hitler's right hand man, Heinrich Himmler, was very much into the occult and things like that. And this diver said there was definitely strange occult type symbols carved into the floors and walls down there,
Yeah.
and some of the
Yeah.
rooms.
I believe
Yeah,
it because that is true. Hitler was very much obsessed with the occult.
yes. So as the diver was down there, he just claimed in different rooms he saw human body parts, and in some of the rooms that they were chained up with, animal heads and things like that. And he said he swore that they were trying to escape their restraints, but he wasn't
Oh,
able to totally see if it was just the water moving. And then came up. He pretty
that's
much was,
scary.
yeah, he was dubbed. basically senile after that and dismissed from the Navy. And then after that, I believe within 24 hours, the British came and flattened the town hall and overtook that area from us while we moved on to whatever else we needed to do. Um,
Interesting. That is
yeah,
a crazy story. That
yeah.
is wow. Kenny, you have so much information on Dogman. Like every time I speak to you, it's just like I learn something new every single time.
I appreciate the
And
kind words. I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to try
yeah.
to just get out as much information as we can and teach each other as much as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much when I first started all this. That was basically my goal, is to make the holy grail of Dogman information in my book and my encounters and stuff, and just collect as much evidence as possible, debunk as much as possible, and just really put that all together into one area to make it easily accessible for everybody.
Well, you certainly are doing a very good job, I might add. I mean, these stories, I mean, legitimate documented cases that Kenny has, shares on his YouTube all the time. We collaborate together all the time. I use a lot of his videos, and because I have a reaction channel on Brookestirr on YouTube, and his is Star Fox Media. And I would just say I'm a pretty good presenter and a reactor. And but the main thing that I like from doing this is because I learn so
Yes, yes.
much. And I
Education is
honestly,
free, so
yes, exactly. And w- I knew as soon as you came to me with all these cases, I'm like, this dude is legit. Like, he is really getting these real cases. He's presenting the truth. And that's one of the things I like about you is that you're bringing the truth about Dogman and, you know, debunking a lot of the, what do you call them?
the junk or the spam or the crap, whatever you would.
Yeah, the made up kind of
Yeah, the
things
fakes,
because, yeah,
the hoaxes, whatever you prefer, I suppose.
yeah, hoaxes and things like that. Like, I really like that you have done that. And, I feel like you're a true treasure in the cryptid community with this stuff, bringing the truth. And I mean, I
Wow,
can't wait till your book
such
comes out
kind
because
words, so
it's going to
kind.
be, I mean, I'm serious about all this. And everybody should go give Kenny a watch on his YouTube channel because it's very informative. I absolutely love it, and I love this topic. I think it's intriguing. I can't wait to talk about more cryptids, and I mean, it's just been a great learning experience, and how everything fits together, and talking about the origins and stuff. That's right up my alley. So, I mean,
No,
the origin, we didn't even go farther back to Dogman being from, like, I'm hearing from the star system of Sirius, like the dog, Sirius. And I was just bamboozled. So I actually do want to get more into like those kind of origins now. You mentioning about the portals and things like that too. Like, I really want to deep dive into some of the spiritual aspects of Dogman
yeah, no,
as well.
that's totally great. And actually, once we get some guests on and things like that, like Jody Cook would be someone really good to pick his mind about the
Oh,
aspects
Jody
that.
definitely needs to get on here. If
Yeah, yeah.
he's the
Yes.
founder of the North
So
American Dogman Project for sure.
100. He would be the one that would, I think, be able to really have some good information about the star systems and things that you had just been referring to. And then a couple of my other friends I work with that dive more into the Navajo and the skinwalkers and stuff like that. I also have them lined up too,
Yes.
so they'll be able to shed a little bit more light onto that as well. So
Yeah, definitely. I would love to get I have actually Native American lineage, so it'd be great to get some Native American
yeah, I
speakers
have
on
a
here.
ton of indigenous friends that are extremely educated in this topic. So.
Nice, nice.
All right, everybody. I do appreciate you tuning in, as does Brookestirr. And thank you again for supporting our content. Hopefully, you enjoyed the episode tonight. We have a ton and ton of stuff coming out here in the future. As we just
Definitely.
spoke about, we have some amazing guests lined up as well. So make sure to keep a watchful eye out for our content. And I should be hopefully pushing out something else this week. But if not, I will be back on the grind sooner than later. And as I said, thanks for tuning in. This is your favorite vampire from the North American Dogman Project. I do have to rest again. And make sure to support Brookestirr. She is my co-host. Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Midnight Lycanthropy, and we're signing off now. So we're going to say bye.
Well, everyone, what did you think of that episode? Let us know in the comments below. Have you ever seen a dogman or a cryptid? Let us know. You can email me and we can share it on the podcast if you would like. Don't forget to check out Kenny's channel and give him some love too. He's really got some great info on the dogman. Make sure to be here for our next episode of Midnight Lycanthropy next Thursday, 12 a.m. Thank you guys for stopping by, and make sure to wear your PJs next time. It is indeed midnight. And until the next time, guys, bye!